Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am your host, Christine, and I'm super delighted to have the very talented Sarah Wade joining me today. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Christine.
I'm so excited to have you here. I want to say, first of all, congratulations, because you are in our February issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine. And as I said, and we've spoken a lot, I really love what you're doing. And I know that our listeners today are going to get so much out of it because it's really something completely different, but it's going to help them go, oh, I need to try this to be able to help me in my life and my business. So I'm going to hand it just over to you just to sort of introduce yourself, and then we'll dive in deep and get lots of little golden nuggets for them today in this episode.
Sounds great. So yeah, I help people to literally to do something different, to externalize the stuff that's going on in their head and to address the elephant in the room. So what do I mean by this? I mean, maybe you can't see things clearly. Maybe there's so much bright, shiny stuff that you're in someone else's skin. And I encourage people to shed that external skin and literally paint their own life's masterpiece so that they have passion and purpose and they prosper in areas that make them feel, this is who I am. I'm in alignment with me now.
I love it so much. And I can resonate so much with it. So especially for me, when I left the corporate world, I felt like I was pretending to be somebody else, pretending who everyone thought that I needed to be. So it actually took me like a 2 years sort of process. And I still feel like it's an ever evolving sort of roller coaster that I go on just to sort of find out who the real me is. But do you find that there's so many people out there just going, oh, something's not sparking me or something's not giving me enjoyment? And that's when they go down that sort of self-discovery process in life?
There tends to be a bit of a void in between. Yeah. So exactly how you described it. I have a lot of people come into me in that situation. They're not comfortable in that carbon copy, that plastic fantastic monopoly sort of style situation that society has said, hey, this is what you should do. And you're like, yeah, not so much. Yeah. So I tend to find that people have some sort of void and they fill that with shopping like Gucci or, big brand names, and they're like consumerism sort of comes out, or they go into drugs and alcohol or both. And then they're like, oh, now things really need to change.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to do. And society says you should go do these sorts of things like talk therapy and counseling, which absolutely have their merits. What I do is completely different, and you're able to express yourself without needing words, which is really cool because that unspoken truth, that secret desire, that why you just don't feel right in that corporate role, that's what comes out.
Yeah. And I think you're right, because I have seen counselors before, I've seen psychologists before, and I'm very transparent and open about that. But there are also times you're like going, oh, do I feel like I'm being judged by what I actually say or how I even deliver that information? And it's not just with those people, it's anybody as well, because I am a recovering people pleaser. So, you want everything to be perfect. You want everyone to like you. And, with that. So this is what I really love what you do, because in a way, it allows that inner creativity to come out to really express what you want.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. And what I help people do is to really to flavor their own onion, to create that true self and be unabashedly ashamed about just, yes, I own who I am. I'm really comfortable in this. Like, get out of the way. I'm here to play. It's so much fun and playfulness and this spark of I can't describe it again, because what I do is work with things, not using words so much. It's one of those things that you kind of you do have to experience to get the full concept of.
Yeah.
But that said, once you dip your toe in, you are like, whoa, I want to go scuba diving. Let's do this.
Yeah. it's really amazing, isn't it? Like, as you really start knowing yourself even more, I feel like sometimes we have to date ourselves and we have to sort of go back to actually go, oh, what I like, what I don't like, and you sort of understand a
Yeah.
little bit more about yourself. And I feel like that's really what you do with people. They get to know themselves. And it's almost like a lot of the times of what we've wanted as a child gets so suppressed because what society thinks. So what you're doing in sort of that sort of playful type environment allows that to come back out and go back to all the preconceptions and, the idealism or whatever that society has put on us. It allows us to get back to our true authentic self.
Percolates this
Yeah.
yes factor. Yeah, it's really, it's a beautiful thing, one for me to witness, but also to experience. Like, breakthroughs happen, and you mentioned before judgment. What I do, there's absolutely no judgment from my behalf. If you create something, I'm not going to tell you that is this. I don't diagnose you. You look into your stuff and go, right, because you're able to externalize it, you're getting it out, and you make those connections yourself.
Yeah.
Your awareness grows, and you end up like dancing in probabilities instead of relying on hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is like, as myself even being a coach, it's like getting them to take that ownership of themselves and ownerships of where their life can be and going to as well, and allowing those beautiful connections to start to unfold as well. Is that what you're finding with your clients?
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. It's a really beautiful thing to watch as it's like, oh, they literally are shaving their skin. They're shedding. That's the word I was looking
Getting
for. Yeah, shedding that skin and really coming into who they are, to be back in that alignment with, as you said, who they were as a kid, what they were originally passionate about, that maybe their candle's been put out over time.
Yeah. And do you want to explain to everyone sort of how you've gone into this particular area, and, share a little bit about your story that sort of allowed you to, transform so many incredible, beautiful lives as well, using all of these beautiful therapies that you do?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. You can see in the magazine there's quite a bit of my origin story, for lack of a better word, right now. But basically, I lived a very comfortable middle class life, and then it just didn't fit right when I got to my 20s, and I wanted to go out and explore and do things by myself, make mistakes, and stop being such a people pleaser. So I ended up traveling around Australia and bullshitting myself. Sorry to swear. I hope your viewers don't mind, but
No,
I
go
was
for it.
bullshitting myself for years. And it took a long, long time for me to really claim who I was as a person. And I think if you haven't experienced that yourself, you know somebody who has, right? And what happened is that I allowed other people's boundaries and their projections of the world to really cut me down. I felt like a crumb, not like a slice of cake. It wasn't like this beautiful decadent cake that I am now. Like, it was a crumb. It was really thin crepe of fruit, like that fluffy pancake. I'm using a lot of food terms at the moment.
You're making me hungry.
It's that real. I'm a real visual person,
Yeah.
and I was really allowing other people's external stuff to hurt me. And then coming into my own, I was like, yes, I've decided I'm going to get into hospitality and travel the world, and I'm going to do everything right and enjoy island hopping. And it just didn't happen for me. Unfortunately, I slipped and hurt my back, ended up in my bed basically for 4 years, and depression just got worse and worse, anxiety, PTSD, you name it. It wasn't a pleasant place to be. So what I saw in the world, in movies, what happens when you're in that place? You self-medicate. So I was that person with the Valium and wine, and really not being in a great place. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And that, I felt really uncomfortable. This is not me. I was going to talk therapies and you just don't get me. And got to a point where I literally spiraled, and I ended up in hospital after a suicide attempt. And I ended up with some significant injuries that I'm still dealing with today. But from that, I got to go into group art therapy. And at first I was like, I don't know. But wow, it saved my life in so many ways. I literally found my tribe, and my possibilities just expanded so much because there was so much that I wasn't able to express in words. And I really did find my confidence. So getting out of my box that, you know, this is what you should do, this is how other people do it. I said, that I'm doing it my way, and really embrace that. So what I encourage people to do is exactly that, is to design your own masterpiece. You know, don't hand that paintbrush to anybody else. You know, you can do what you want to do and enjoy it and have that purpose and passion. And that actually filters out into all areas of your life. It's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yeah, it really is. And I find your story, it's so powerful because there's so many people where, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge, you know, big, and I'm not trying to minuscule this, like a big, huge, epic thing that's happened in someone's life. You had an accident, and this is then what's happened. And it's a number of different events that go through it. And I love it that you're so honest about it and telling people about it, because so many people are sitting there right now and they've gone through it.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, I had surgery, and honestly, for a week and a half, I literally felt like crap. I felt like myself going down that rabbit hole, going, what is it? And being a coach myself, like, this is what's happening and all that sort of stuff. But you have to then go, well, this tool isn't working. This is not working for me. Find what will work for you. And this is what I love that you're doing, because you're giving somebody something else. It's a different tool that they can go and use that's going to be able to help transform their life. And if this is not working for you, go and try what Sarah's doing, because it is like, it's amazing. I've seen it in children and I've seen it in adults when they get to write or they get to express via a painting or a drawing what they want. And if you can't express it in your words, there is so many other ways that you can do it. And this is why I really connected so much with what you have to say. And I really love your story, because it's come from a personal part as well. So you've experienced firsthand, and now you're getting to share this beautiful gift with so many people as well. So I just want to say that I really congratulate you for everything that you've done. And I think it's just a beautiful journey that you've done. And it takes beautiful courage and inspiration to share it with so many other people as well. So thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate it.
And I think if we don't share these things, it's not normalized. You know, so many women go through these transformations, and even to the point where if you've got kids as they're growing up, and the empty nest syndrome comes up. Yep. Corporate roles might change, your job roles change, your husband, you're suddenly earning more than them, maybe you're separated. There's this void that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the longer we let it happen, from actually making a decision to change, the heavier the weight on our back is, and the longer it really stops us from enjoying life, from feeling that joy and fulfillment.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of it also allows people to start to feel? Because I know myself that after leaving the corporate world, I actually found myself quite numb, and I actually didn't know how to feel certain emotions, because I just literally felt like I felt like I was a robot every single day. You get up, go to, and call it Groundhog Day, whatever you want. But I literally did not know how to feel. And I had to experience different emotions again to know what those feelings were. Does that also help people to connect the different emotions as well?
For sure, 100%. One of the things that I've been doing is implementing like a weather system. So if I was to ask you, if you saw the weather today, it might be sunny or it might be raining or sunny with clouds. How was your day today? And you can literally see it through a new lens and take off your problem glasses, so to speak. And it just, those feelings, because you've taken off those problem glasses, because you're seeing things slightly differently or even completely differently, you're able to really connect with those true and probably secret feelings that you've been harboring for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. And what are like some of the things that if someone's sitting there right now and they're feeling at that sort of point in their life where they're not, and let's just say they're not happy, they're not lit up and inspired, and they know that they simply want something more for their life, what could they do right now to really help them? Just to, even for me, I would say acknowledge it, that it's okay. But is there something like a piece of advice that you would give to somebody in that situation right now?
I would suggest you think about what you secretly want, what you secretly desire, those things that you might not communicate with other people, but you're like, oh, if only they would, or if only I could. That's what I would suggest that you explore.
Mm,
As you explore that elephant in the room, really you're going to just lift that veil and things will change in your life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it how you say it's the elephant in the room, because literally that's what it is. It's like there's the one thing that you don't want to talk about, the one thing you don't want to discuss. It really is what it is. And sometimes we have to get it out there. We need to address it, because as you and I both know that once you do, it lifts you up, like it takes this sort of weight off you. And it really allows you to, as you said, change your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about like the weight of a cup, like you hold it out, how heavy is it?
Yeah.
It's different for however long you hold it. So if that elephant's sitting there for some time, it's I mean, it's an elephant for one, so
Yeah.
it's heavy, you know, but there's all that mental energy that you're putting into and not addressing that elephant. Just chat to it. Say, what have you got to say to me? Literally, it's actually quite an interesting thing to ask the elephant what it needs.
Yeah.
What and again, you're able to change your perspective and like, oh, this is what I haven't been doing, or this is what I need to do. Actually, this is my true passion.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, because sometimes it is just asking the question. And it's sometimes I find that we want to make things so complex, whereas sometimes going to the simpler aspect of it sometimes the simplicity of it is really what we need to do.
Yeah, I actually find that if you're using like archetypes and things like that is a really interesting way of explaining your story and to really think about, who is being prisoner in my life? Is it me, or am I holding an emotion, or what's going on here that will allow me to set myself free? So yeah, just getting that out and to really consider who you want to be, because you don't want to be that person laying in their deathbed with regrets, do you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So as we sort of like you've shared so much with everyone today, how can people work with you? Do you have like one-to-one programs? Do people work with you? Can they work with you just in person, or is it online?
So I was working a lot in person, doing a lot of speaking and large rooms in Perth. And when COVID hit, things changed. So currently I'm working a lot online. And so people, yes, can work with me one-to-one or in a group situation. You can find me on Instagram at Design the Life You Desire, which is quite obvious what I do and the work that we will do together. And you can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and a bunch of other social media places. But yeah, so we will conduct sessions on Zoom. And you can also catch me on a podcast every second Tuesday with an amazing guy from Canada. And we have got Dr. John DeMartini coming on pretty soon and some amazing people. So it's,
Awesome.
yeah, you can connect with me in many ways.
Yeah, I love that so much. And as I said to you, I'm a massive fan, and I really do love what you're doing, because I know that the benefit that people can get out of it. And like you said, like there's always something for somebody that's, to help them and help express themselves. And the end result is to see people transform, which is the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah. I think it's really important also to know there's not one way. There's not one right way for everybody. So if something's not working for you, cool.
Yeah.
Go back and go, what else is available?
Oh,
And try
absolutely.
something different, do something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say thank you so much for being here, sharing your story, but also sharing so many like golden nuggets with all of our listeners today. I'm going to pop the details of how you can reach out to Sarah below. So check out the show notes as well and reach out to Sarah. And honestly, she is an amazing coach and, really, really genuinely wants to help people, which I absolutely adore. So thank you so much for joining us, beautiful.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you to everyone who has listened to this episode of the Corporate Escapers TV show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Innes. Remember to hit like and subscribe to follow us, and you get the updates of all of our upcoming episodes. And make sure you go and check us out on Facebook or Instagram at the Corporate Escapers. And follow your passion and live life to the fullest every day. Love and light to you all.